Guys, this is the last one. This is their last chance, okay? After this, it's done. No more modern game.
All of these game devs are losing their minds lately, and it's pretty hilarious. Dead by Daylight developer allegedly forcing employees to undergo Wheel of Privilege DI training. Wheel of Privilege? I mean, seriously? That's got to be one of the lamest things I've ever heard. God of War director David Jaffe.
Wheel of Privilege? What the shit is a Wheel of Privilege? Oh my god. Let's continue.
Blames YouTube grifters for killing Dragon Age the Veilguard and compares transgenderism to being black.
First of all, being black not a choice, okay? There's no pill that I could take to make me blacker or to make me, well, I guess I could become whiter if I really wanted to, but you can't just become blacker. Being trans and being black are two different things. Please do not put me in the same category.
Imagine being lectured about all that stuff from this dude. These are all by Fandom Pulse, by the way. They also wrote this. Avowed art director wants supporters of Donald Trump to, quote-unquote, feel the sting of shame for the rest of their putrid lives. There's so much that confuses me with these people. Why are they always so mad? And why do they always have, like, no accountability? And also, why do they always sound so lame? Like, who talks like that? Oh, their putrid lives. Oh, the wheel of privilege. And then the kicker is that these dudes are, like, in their 40s or 50s or something like that. And you would think that they would be more mature, but somehow they're not. Let's start with this.
I'm gonna say what everybody's thinking. Game developers need to shut up and make games. That's your job. Go make games. I will never take legal advice from a doctor, okay? Doctors, highly intelligent people, paid God knows how much amount of money yearly, makes way more money than me, right? I'm not taking car mechanic issues to my doctor. The same way, I'm not asking my mechanic to check my spleen. Game developers need to stay in their lane and remember that if your game does not sell, that if your game does not do well, it is your fault. It is not the buyer's fault. It's not the president's fault. It's not the state of the world. It's because your game, say it with me now, it's because your game is ass.
Wheel of Privilege one. Look at this. This is
citizenship, skin color, formal education, ability, sexuality, neurodiversity, mental health, body size, housing, wealth, language, and gender. And the center of that is power. And if you fall on any of these places, the closer you get to the center, the closer you are to power. Shut up. Stop talking. Zip. No more. This has gotten out of hand. This is we need to start pulling back because this is simply too much, okay?
Is this seriously real, dude? Unbelievable. Let's scroll up a bit. At Behavior, a large video game company in Montreal, Canada. Oh, yeah, headquarters of Sweet Baby Inc. and many other consultancy firms like them.
Oh my god,
okay.
I hate the fact.
A lot of weird stuff
I hate the
going
fact
on.
that I'm from Montreal.
The Montreal, man. If you live there, you got my best wishes. And that's coming from someone who lives in California,
Thank
so
you.
like I feel your pain, but yeah, continuing. Made employees undergo DI training, which includes a Wheel of Privilege, teaching that black people and fat people are oppressed. Okay, so in the center we've got power. In the outside we've got marginalized. Let's see some examples.
I am not oppressed, okay? I am not a victim. Stop turning me into a victim. I'm so freaking tired. And you know what? It's always white people that are like, you don't even know that you're a victim. That's how brainwashed you are. I grew up in Saint Laurent, which is a very nice neighborhood in Montreal. There was a public pool with heated water. You understand? I went to a public pool that had heated water in Montreal. The building I lived in, yes, it was an apartment. Guess who owned the apartment? My dad. And then at 13, guess what? I moved to Vaudreuil. And then we lived in a really, really nice house. Most of the kids I went to school with who are white did not live in houses. Their parents did not own the buildings that they lived in. And guess what? Now, I own my own house. It's crazy that me being black didn't stop me from doing any of these things. I am not a victim, and stop trying to make me into one for your virtue signaling and your keyboard, mind you, your keyboard white knighting. You.
Examples of this. So if you are a cisgender man, privileged, cisgender woman, a bit less privileged, trans, intersex, non-binary, marginalized, no way. If you're slim, you have power. If you're average sized, you're like in the middle. And if you're large, you're marginalized. Yeah, large people notoriously don't have any power in the world, right? There's no like large people who are powerful people as well. Yeah.
You know, in a lot of countries, for the longest time, historically speaking, being obese meant you have power because you could afford food. Being fat equaled power. Till this day, there are still some countries in Africa that think obesity equals beauty. Oh, and it's just here? Huh? It's just over here that being slim is equivalent to power? Let me break it down for you. I'm 6'3". I weigh 135 pounds. I would much rather weigh 160 to 180 pounds. I would feel much better, a lot happier. I live in Canada. It's cold all the time. I'm freezing 95% of the time. Being slim is not a positive for me.
Right? These people are nuts, dude. Whoever made this is a complete nutcase. They say adapted from James R. Vanderwoord, Web of Oppression, and Sylvia Duckworth, Wheel of Power / Privilege. You know what? You gotta be extremely privileged to have the time to make some slop like this. We could easily spend the entire video just laughing at that thing, but there's a lot of stuff I want to cover in this one. Keep in mind, though, that that's apparently being used by the developers of Dead by Daylight, that being Behavior Interactive, once again in their apparent diversity, equity, and inclusion, that being DEI training, which you can see here in the top left of the image. And so Fandom Pulse continues talking about that Duckworth person who was credited, saying, in a post to Instagram in August 2020, Duckworth explained the wheel. Oh great, here we go. Wheels like this help us visualize what the term marginalization means. The further you are from power, the more marginalized and powerless you are. Why would anyone want to listen to this person? Why would you want some like random weirdo to tell you, oh, you're so powerless, you're so marginalized, you need our help? And so apparently Sylvia, according to what seems to be her website, is an award-winning teacher from Toronto, Canada.
Obviously, she has to be Canadian. Why? Okay, like the only thing Canada has like exported that, and I'm proud of the exportation, is like what Ryan Gosling, the guy who plays Deadpool, I can't remember what his name is, Tim Hortons, and Poutine. Besides that, everything else that comes out of Canada, man, it's starting to get a little disappointing, I'm telling you.
More than 30 years teaching experience in the classroom. On her Instagram, it looks like she's made a number of what seems to be children's books. She's got smash hits like Trans People Exist in the Future. What does LGBTQIA+ stand for? And talking about racism.
What trans people have always existed throughout most of history, okay? It was a thing. The difference is that today it is not as simple as being trans. Now you have to force everybody to accept your belief, and if someone doesn't accept your belief, they are bigoted. That's the issue.
What does LGBTQIA+ stand for? And talking about racism. Then she's also got posts like this. Who should we be most afraid of? It looks like she wants people to be terrified of white people or something. Well, you know what? She's actually...
Okay, numbers of mass shooting in the United States between 1982 and February 2020 by shooter, race, or ethnicity. Who should we be afraid of? 65 white, 21 black, 10 Latino, 8 Asian, 3 Native American. We should be afraid of whoever's holding the gun. That's who I'm afraid of, okay? Now it's white people, but in any circumstance, if someone is pointing a weapon at me, regardless of their color, guess what? I'm giving them my wallet.
Well, you know what? She's actually doing a pretty good job of making me terrified of her. Like, she seems like a terrible person to be around. Imagine you're like hanging out there and she's just like, oh, that's privileged. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, that's a microaggression. I could be non-stop with this person. But hey, I guess the Dead by Daylight devs would disagree. They must think this person's brilliant or something if they're using her teachings in their own TI training course. Now let's check out this one. Avowed art director wants supporters of Donald Trump to feel the sting of shame for the rest of their putrid lives. Says this guy apparently. And Avowed is that game set to release.
I bet you he was bullied and started balding like at the end of high school, which is why he's bitter now.
February 2025 action role-playing game by Obsidian Entertainment. In a post to Blue Sky ahead of the elections in the US, Matt Hansen reacted to a post from Thane Greenwood, who wrote, "I also firmly believe that we need to crush these people's spirits into what? Into blood and earth, not be nice to the immoral supporters of an aspirational gore-soaked director." Wait, this person's the one who's talking about like crushing people into blood and then they complain about gore? Did I read that correctly? What a hypocrite. Hansen replied to this writing, "They need to feel the sting of shame for the rest of their putrid lives, TBH. And that is me being nice." It was also uncovered that he advocated for discrimination against white people in at least a couple of posts over the last half-decade. Back in 2020, he wrote, "Reminder to black artists out there who are looking for portfolio reviews or job advice. My DMs are open, and you will always have my priority. We got too many crusty white dudes in this field. Please let me help you replace me one day. I want to go back to living in the woods."
I find this more offensive. I would rather you just call me a slur. I would rather you just call me a slur. Reminder to black artists. You have a spot with you. This is borderline fetish, man. This is borderline fetishism towards black people, okay? Guess what? I am just as capable as my white counterpart. And I would love for you to judge me based off of my merit, based off of my achievements, based off of what I've accomplished, not my color. If I get the job purely because of my color, I would hate myself. And I would hate the company I worked for because I will never know. I will never know with certainty that anything I achieved at the company was of my own doing. That's essentially what you're doing. Any person, any immigrant basically, or person of color that gets hired at these companies, you are opening them up to scrutiny from their colleagues, because every white colleague that they have can always go, "You got hired because you were black. You got promoted because you're Mexican. You got a raise because you're a woman." And you take away the accomplishments from the people. You are not helping.
We got like a max level white savior right here. More recently, in March 2024, he responded to Elon Musk, who said, "It should not be acceptable for any company in the gaming industry to be racist and sexist against white guys." Hansen retorted, "Oh, Elon, you sweet summer child. This will only embolden me, you sad sack of shit." Why do you guys think there's so many of these out-of-touch people in the gaming industry? It's like non-stop lately. And that takes us back to another one, that being David Jaffe. Once again, the headline. God of War director David Jaffe blames YouTube grifters for killing Dragon Age the Veilguard and compares transgenderism to being black. In a video uploaded to his YouTube channel, which appears to be a clip from a live stream, Jaffe answered a viewer question about the gaming community ruining the game.
When you say that the gaming community ruined this game's success, I mean, you know, I don't think that's entirely fair, but I think there is a lot of truth to it. If you're EA, you've got to kind of prepare for the market winds that you're sailing into and all that. And so they should have been prepared to counter, and they weren't. Really, at this point, all that gaming community that you're talking about has done is they've made it so they've actually made games worse, which is what they say they're trying to not do. Because they have the charismatic grifters that make the videos that for whatever reason people respond to. People who haven't actually played this game will hate it just because they're sort of told to hate it.
That take is such
Before he goes, let me just pop off for a second. That is a load of bull. And I'll tell you why. God of War Ragnarok. I know he didn't develop Ragnarok. I know he's just part of the original series. So let's take a step back and look at God of War Ragnarok. When Angra Boda was revealed to be black, the internet lost its goddamn mind. The game is still a success. The game is still a success. Meaning, you could put whatever you want out there. If the game is good, people will come and play the game. It's that simple. Your game doesn't do well, your game has issues, it has a shit marketing, you're not gonna sell, okay? It's not gonna function. That's the issue. You came on strong with the non-binary bull. You had this secondary character be the poster child for Dragon Age: The Veilguard. The game did not deliver. People were not happy. They didn't buy the game. The game tanked. Point blank, period. Has nothing to do with the grifters on YouTube. Game was ass, and it's their fault and their fault alone.
Hope. Oh my gosh. And I've also seen a lot of the Veilguard shills on Reddit, for example, basically using the same sort of rhetoric. It's like they're incapable of accepting the fact that a lot of people don't like this game for a variety of reasons, and it's not because some random person on YouTube said like, oh, you have to dislike this game, and they're like, okay. For example, the game was already getting a ton of criticism before it was even released because the trailers that they were releasing, so many people, including a lot of Dragon Age fans, arguably even the majority of DA fans, saying they hated what happened to the Qunari, many also disliking the art style overall, the graphics. Then you fast forward, and it turns out that tons of people don't like the story. They don't like the way many of the characters were depicted. They don't like the lack of options and how you're forced to be this like virtuous, good hero. And while some people liked the combat, a lot of people also didn't like that either. And these, of course, are just a few examples. David Jaffe could even go on Steam and take a look at the reviews here, where they're aggregated, taking a look at the negative reviews if he really thinks people just don't like it because of YouTube grifters. I mean, look at this, man. These people got pretty good amount of hours played, 94 hours, 25 hours, 62 hours. And there's like very nuanced takes here with tons of information on why these people disliked it. So yeah, let me know what you think about this David Jaffe person, director of God of War and Twisted Metal, the Avowed situation with that art director Matt Hansen, and of course also at the beginning that situation with the Dead by Daylight devs using that whole Wheel of Privilege thing. I'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed my coverage, and if you did, consider liking and or subscribing. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you in...
Be sure you guys go and like his video because that was really good, a great video. Honestly, I am so sick of all of this stupidity, and I think that game developers need to learn to shut up and just start making games like they used to. Everyone wants to have a fucking megaphone and give their 2 cents on the state of the gaming industry. Listen, your job is to make games, and then you make adjustments based off of the profit you make. If your game doesn't do well, make something else. Stop blaming the buyers, okay? We are the reason why you can make games. Stop blaming me for not buying your garbage product. That's gonna be it for today's video. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, like, subscribe. It costs you literally nothing to do so. And if you can hit that notification, that'd be pretty sick. Because we're on the road to 400. And if you don't want to help, well, at the end of the day, I'm just some guy on the internet. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace. If you want to see more of my face, be sure to click the video you see on the screen right now.